Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Donald Trump is single-handedly driving this economy off a cliff. With no evidence to back him up, he's claimed emergency authorities to slap new tariffs on nearly every product we import from nearly every country. But Congress has the power to reverse these tariffs, and we should do so immediately. Tariffs can be a tool to help build things in America, but Trump has slapped tariffs on, then off again with no rhyme or reason. And the uncertainty about the long-term rules makes companies far less likely to invest in manufacturing or jobs here in the United States. If Congress doesn't stand up to Trump, economists predict a recession before the end of the year. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell says we're in a real danger of, quote, both higher unemployment and higher inflation. Translation, Trump's tariffs will push millions of workers out of jobs and push prices up at the same time. So, Ambassador Greer, we've heard a lot of conflicting statements about whether these tariffs are here to stay, how many more rounds of on-off we're going to do. So let me ask the question from a different perspective. Ambassador Greer, we lost 700,000 jobs each month in the last recession. If 700,000 Americans lose their jobs, will the Trump administration suspend these tariffs?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to America First, the channel where we cut through the noise and get to the heart of the issues that matter most to you. Today, we're talking about Elizabeth Warren's latest tirade against President Trump's trade policies. She went full-on attack mode during a Senate hearing, accusing Trump of creating chaos with his tariffs. Well, we're here to set the record straight. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to stay up to date on all things America First. Let's get into it.
Senator, I think the economists who are making these projections, who often are in favor of fully unfettered free trade, are the same ones who said in the first Trump term that putting tariffs...
Greer, Ambassador Greer, let me just stop you there. I'm not asking about projections. I'm asking if the numbers show that 700,000 people have lost their jobs because of these new tariffs that Trump has slapped on. Will the administration reverse course and lift those tariffs?
Senator, that's not going to happen. We've lost 5 million manufacturing jobs over the years, which is the number I'm most worried about, and we have to get those jobs
back. So I take that as a no. Let me try another one. Moody's says that if the Trump tariffs remain in place, we will definitely plunge into a recession, which will ultimately cost 3.5 million Americans their jobs. So, Ambassador Greer, if Trump's tariffs push 3.5 million people out of work, will the Trump administration reverse course and lift those tariffs?
Senator, the Wall Street analysts are wrong. They never want to have any kind of change to the status quo.
Right or
but that's who you're quoting to me, Senator.
I'm giving you a number. If the number is 3.5 million, if it never comes to pass, you don't have to worry about your answer. But if 3.5 million people lose their jobs because of these tariffs, is the Trump administration prepared to lift them?
Right now, this minute, we're working on negotiations with countries who believe they can achieve reciprocity with us and get their trade deficit down. And that's the emergency we're focused on. There's not going to be a situation where years from now we've lost millions of jobs.
Let me try one more time. If Trump tariffs push workers out of their jobs and raise prices, as Fed Chair Powell has predicted, will you reverse course then?
I think also with respect to Chairman Powell, who I don't know personally, but I know the president makes decisions on trade, and he rarely takes advice from Chairman Powell on this. We found in Trump 1 that you could put tariffs on China and you could make it work and have lower income, lower unemployment, lower inflation, and increase real median household income over time as we reshore. And that's what we have to do, Senator.
What I'm hearing you say is that no one can hear a rhyme or reason to why the tariffs are off again, on again, off again, on again. But what you're telling us is the fact that hundreds of thousands, even millions of people could lose their jobs and that prices could go up will not be a factor for you or for Donald Trump for rolling those tariffs back. Look, if Republicans are serious about protecting American jobs and fighting inflation, then they can join Democrats right now to pass a resolution to fix Trump's reckless tariffs. This economy is teetering on the edge of collapse. We have the power right here in the Senate and over in the House of Representatives to take this authority away from Donald Trump. We can get this voted on. Senator Wyden and I have already are about to introduce the bill to do that. And if Republicans are serious about not playing the red light, green light with tariffs, but instead about protecting our economy, our families, our jobs, and keeping prices low, then Republicans should join us on that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Welch.
Thank you. You know, there's a place for tariffs on China. Targeted tariffs make some sense. What is being rolled out and the way this is being done is so destructive and so reckless and so irresponsible that it's creating nothing but economic chaos, uncertainty.
So Elizabeth Warren claims Trump's tariffs are reckless and chaotic. Really? Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. What Warren is conveniently ignoring is that Trump implemented these tariffs to put America first in trade negotiations. For decades, we've been taken advantage of by countries like China, who flood our markets with cheap goods, steal our intellectual property, and destroy American manufacturing. Trump said, "Enough is enough." And guess what? He was right. Now, Warren is out here fear-mongering about job losses, saying economists predict a recession and that tariffs will lead to higher unemployment and inflation. But let me ask you this. Where were these same experts when we lost millions of manufacturing jobs to China and Mexico under NAFTA and other disastrous trade deals? Where was their concern for the American worker then? Trump's tariffs were a wake-up call to the world that the days of exploiting American workers are over. Let's not forget what Trump's tariffs actually achieved. In his first term, we saw a resurgence in American manufacturing. Companies started bringing jobs back to the U.S. because they knew Trump was serious about leveling the playing field. Elizabeth Warren talks about uncertainty, but let me tell you what creates real uncertainty: letting foreign countries dictate the rules while our leaders sit back and do nothing. Trump's tariffs weren't chaotic, they were strategic. They forced countries to the negotiating table and showed the world we mean business. And then there's poor Ambassador Greer trying to explain this to Warren, who just keeps badgering him with hypothetical numbers. She says, what if 700,000 jobs are lost? What if 3.5 million jobs are lost? Well, Senator Warren, what if we did nothing? What if we let the Chinese Communist Party keep stealing our jobs and undercutting our industries? That's the real threat to American families. Now, Warren and her buddy Senator Wyden are pushing legislation to strip Trump and any future president of the authority to impose tariffs. Let me tell you what that really means. They want to hand control of our economy right back to the globalists and the elites. They want to tie our hands so we can't defend ourselves in the global trade war that's been waged against us for decades. This is about control, folks. They don't want an America that stands strong and independent. They want an America that bows to the World Trade Organization and corporate lobbyists. And then we have Senator Welch chiming in, calling Trump's tariffs reckless and irresponsible. Oh, really? Because last I checked, the left has no problem with reckless spending or irresponsible policies when it comes to their pet projects. But when Trump takes a stand for American workers, suddenly it's a crisis. The hypocrisy is off the charts, people. Here's the bottom line, patriots. Elizabeth Warren and her allies don't care about American workers. They're more concerned about pleasing their globalist pals and scoring political points than they are about protecting our economy. Trump's tariffs were never about chaos. They were about putting America first. And yes, sometimes that means making tough decisions and upsetting the status quo. But if we don't fight back, we'll lose our industries, our jobs, and our future as a sovereign nation. So let me ask you, do you want a government that caves to China and Wall Street, or do you want a government that fights for you? If you're with us, hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe to America First for more no-nonsense, patriotic content. Together, we can keep this country strong, proud, and free. Until next time, stay strong, stay patriotic, and remember, America comes first.